Yes, it's the third day here at the Intra-Africa Trade Fair here in Durban, South Africa, the International Convention Center. Quite a very interesting day, again, a very thrilling to hear a couple of African leaders like former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, who's also the chairman of the IATF Advisory Council, spoke very interestingly, spoke to a number of issues about neo-colonialism, the need to move away from all that decades and decades of what Africa have had under colonialism and being the dumping ground for goods from outside the continent and beginning to rally the continent's industrial manufacturing, trade, investment, policymakers together and on how to move African forward. He's got a one-on-one today, just a couple of hours ago, and he spoke as one of the strongest leaders of the African Union and the Organization of African Union as well, which is precedes the African Union. And he spoke about the need to actually get Africa to begin to control the price of its commodities, such as cocoa, being able to control the volume, being able to control the beneficiation of what you call the value chain within the cocoa sector. Former President Obasanjo, former Nigerian president, also spoke very glowingly about what Afrexim Bank is doing under Benedict Rama, who is the current president of the Trade Finance Development Bank. And he says there's a need to do a whole bit more, asking the Afrexim Bank to also support a whole lot more in the area of commodities across Africa in order to add value. All of that's coming through on the back of a lot of sessions today, a couple of sessions, as it were, around agriculture value chain on one hand, and automotive sector as well as cosmetology, fashion, entertainment industry. We've had about two separate sessions also this Wednesday talking to issues around women entrepreneurship and why women are very, very critical to the entire intra-Africa trade. Remember, bulk of Africa's trade relates to informal sector where women actually play a very major role across the borders. Then, of course, you talk about the youth participation in the entire conversation. So this is not just about the top level in terms of policymakers, leaders across countries, but also to talk about the very teeming population, 1.2 billion Africans on the continent. A chunk of that, between 60 and 80%, are those who are 30 and below. So the hunger in the belly of these young ones and the brain that is ready to go in technology, in fintech, in digitalization are also being brought to bear with this particular intra-Africa trade. So this is not just about the trade talk of years ago in terms of the big talk by big policymakers, but also bringing everyone in what's got an inclusive policy agenda for trade investment, leveraging digitalization and what we're seeing. Then today we've seen a few more of the deals being signed together with Afrexim Bank, of course, which is the pioneer and the leading trade finance organization on the African continent. Over the last 3 days, we've seen deals now at about $6 billion US. A couple of these are going into the energy sector. Yesterday, the NNPC of Nigeria and a few other companies within the oil sector. Today, we've got another one with Aeroton Petroleum doing $750 million US with Afrexim Bank, also in the energy sector. But beyond oil and gas or fossil fuel, we've seen two deals as well also within the electricity sector for Zimbabwe. For Zimbabwe's electricity and distribution company, $110.4 billion US signed with Afrexim Bank, looking to pay down some of the legacy debts that the company has and been able to move forward, provide electricity for industries and people in Zimbabwe, as well as ensuring that there is prepaid meters to ensure that folks, household businesses are well metered and that they're able to collect the right tariff back into the coffers of this company and by extension revenue to the Zimbabwean government. Then you've got another deal with the Egyptian El Saudi Electric, which is a very big name in North Africa when you talk about electricity and the energy sector. They also did what you call an MOU for $1 billion US for projects in Malawi, and this, of course, will include electricity, power, and a few other projects, as it were. Now, you have another deal today with Zambia, which is a southern African country as well. Two deals, $300 210 million US dollar and another 110 million US dollars, a total of about 310 million US dollars. Now, the target by Afrexim here for this year's IATF is to get 40 billion US dollars, about 32 to 35 billion dollars when the first edition of the fair was held in Cairo, Egypt in 2018. Now, the target is 40 billion dollars. Another news that Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire will be hosting the 2023 edition of this biennial program. You can be sure from $40 billion, the next amount is likely going to be 50 billion US dollars for Cote d'Ivoire. We're looking to hear more. That announcement has been made. So Cote d'Ivoire is a proud host of the 2023 Intra-Africa Trade Fair under the umbrella of Afrexim Bank. So it's been a very quite interesting day, and we'll keep covering all angles of this particular event for you. This is Frontier Africa Report. I am Wilson Amofaye here in Durban. I'll see you again tomorrow for another IATF 2021 briefing. Bye for now.